So they were looking at the story of a guy who says he can't feel any pain. He also says this is completely true, and I think, pretty sure somewhere along the line, he like sticks his hand in a tiger's mouth and gets eaten. I'm not sure, but let's find out if it's real. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Ryan, and
What's
I
up,
have
Ryan?
a rare disorder. I don't feel pain.
Hold up, why is that like a toddler that also looks like he's like a 58-year-old man that's divorced? I mean, there's something confusing.
I didn't always know this, though. Here's how it all started.
Okay.
My parents thought I was the most perfect baby in the world. Why? I rarely ever cried.
Oh,
I was
good.
laughing most of the time and only broke into tears when I was hungry or needed my diaper changed.
Dang, me too. I mean, am I right, guys? Come on, we all need a diaper change sometimes.
My parents' friends who also had babies were so envious that my parents were able to get a full 8 hours of sleep each night.
Dude, one of my friends had a baby recently and she was like, yo,
My baby's so good. I got 3 hours of sleep last night.
I'm like, good? I'm throwing that thing out.
One funny story that my dad tells everyone over dinner is that when I was a toddler, I was playing in the dirt outside.
God, there's no way this kid's a toddler. He's got loafers on. He's got loafers and freaking J. Crew shorts on, and he's a toddler. This is a middle-aged man. We're getting got right now.
He heard me laughing uncontrollably, so he came to see what could have been so amusing about a pile of dirt. When he looked at me, he gasped.
Uh-oh.
I had a huge scorpion in my hands, and I was just playing with it like it was a teddy bear. He also says I had a huge red mark on my leg where it had stung me. He screamed at me to drop it, then picked me up and ran into the house.
Oh, no.
I was still laughing, apparently. My parents took me to the doctor to check if I was okay, and I was. However, no one could understand why I wasn't screaming in pain.
I mean, I feel like after all these videos I've seen, I would know right away. I wouldn't even need a doctor. I'd be like, oh, you can't experience pain. I've seen it before on Storytime.
I had 2 older brothers who were always pushing each other around, and when I was big enough to play their wrestling and boxing games, they included me too.
Kind of the same, except I didn't wait until they were big enough. My little brothers, I just pretty much just beat them all the time until they got bigger than I am, in which case I no longer do that.
They were always hitting or punching me,
Yep.
and instead of crying, I just hit and punched back harder.
Dang, that would be like the worst thing to fight ever. Like you would never win against that.
They'd often stop the games because they were in so much pain.
Dang.
I found it all amusing because I felt nothing. When I was about 6, my family and I were on the beach, and my mom got a sea urchin stuck in her foot.
That hurts, by the way. I've never had it happen, but like that hurts.
She screamed and shouted in pain. Then she burst into tears. My father tried to pull it out, but the more he tried, the more it hurt. I really couldn't understand why it affected my mother so much, so I went into the sea and caught another sea urchin. I dropped it onto the sand and jumped on it. It tickled.
Oh.
Mom, this is fun. Why are you crying? I said. Oh my God, Ryan, she said.
He's probably just injecting himself with poison over and over and over.
We both had urchins stuck in our feet. I was giggling and my mom was crying.
Wow.
My poor dad had to deal with it all. He drove us to the hospital where they helped us to remove the spikes. For my mother, this seemed unbearable, but it didn't affect me at all. And I guess that is when I realized I was a bit different. I decided to use this difference
Is it just me or does he look younger now that he's older? Like he looked older as a toddler than he does as like an 18-year-old or whatever.
to my advantage. At school, I developed the nickname Fearless because I was
Okay.
always doing the most outrageous stunts. I'd climb to the top of the monkey bars and deliberately throw myself down.
Dang, that's like a whole 6-inch drop, my boy.
Or I'd swing really high, then just jump off midair.
Wow.
I brought a lighter to school and tried to impress a girl by
Okay,
burning
wow.
my finger.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I feel like I would have done that as well. We're very similar people, except I experienced pain.
But I have to warn you, don't try any of this at home.
Because some kids watching this right now, like,
Yo, I bet I can do that.
no, you can't.
I got into trouble for this because eventually the other kids wanted to attempt my stunts. When they did, they'd end up in excruciating pain with broken limbs. And I was expelled for being a bad influence.
That seems like an extreme measure. I mean, isn't there like didn't you get detention or you just straight up got expelled? Like, I feel like we're missing some information here.
At my new school, I became a bully because I was angry that
you
those
became a
stupid
bully,
boys
okay.
from my other school got me in trouble. I became the most feared boy at school, and people would think twice before crossing my path. The bigger boys in the higher grades tried to mess with me once, but I beat them up so badly that they learned to stay away from me.
He just feels no pain. He just beats them up until they just give up. That's amazing.
They were so shocked when I only laughed at them while they punched and kicked.
I would be scared. Like, that's the type of person to legit scare me. I'm like not dealing with that.
I have to admit that part of me really loved the attention and respect. I would do things just for the thrill and attention. For example, one afternoon, my parents decided they'd take us kids out to enjoy a cool
Ah, maybe this is the tiger scene we've been waiting for.
stroll in the zoo. After laughing at the penguins and observing the zebras, I began to feel a bit bored.
Yeah?
As we approached the
Oh,
lion,
look at little baby lions. Those are adorable. They're so happy. Every time I go to the zoo, they're just sleeping.
I got a bright idea. Ryan, no! My mom screamed, but it
This is how we get Harambe 2.0, guys. I don't want to see
was
it.
too late. I had already jumped
Oh,
in.
boy.
I walked around making funny faces at the lions while the
Honestly, like, until you died, this would probably be the most wholesome thing ever. Like, little baby lions. That'd be pretty fun.
crowd screamed for me to get out. I ignored them because there was a cute little lion cub approaching me. I ran towards it and picked it up.
Aw.
Suddenly, I heard
Okay, now they look
more
scared.
shouting. Ryan, look out, my dad said.
Oh, no.
Before I could even turn around, a lioness, the cub's
Oh, geez,
mother,
that's actually frightening looking. Why does that look so different?
jumped on my back and bit my arm.
Got him.
I turned around and pried her jaws apart with my bare arms. Then I laughed and hopped out of the lion's pit.
What?
I was bleeding, but I seemed totally unbothered by the whole incident. Everyone was talking about me. In the weeks
Okay, 10,000 likes. Come on, guys. We can get 10,000 likes on this video. Let's get more likes than this dude got for almost being eaten by a lion. Let's go.
that followed, I became so popular that I was invited by several talk show hosts to talk on their shows. It was all the attention I'd been craving, and more. As a teenager, I continued participating in extreme sports. I got tired of the bully reputation.
See, that seems like the worst thing to do. Like, extreme sports are the ones that you need to know if you're hurting so that you don't die. Like, play something a little less extreme, like ping pong or something.
So when I moved to high school, I hung out with the tough kids who
Okay.
were also into extreme sports. We called ourselves the Daredevils, and every other
Perfect. That's a perfect name for someone who can't feel pain. He's not going to make it the next 5 minutes. We're about to lose him.
week, we'd try a different challenge. We went mountain biking, paragliding, skydiving, and base jumping. But my ultimate favorite was cliff diving.
What? I've actually done this. That is pretty fun. I won't lie to you. This is an enjoyable one.
Loved the adrenaline rush I'd get while falling through the air and then crashing on the sea. Unlike my friends, I had absolutely no fear. One afternoon on one of our cliff diving adventures, I had an experience that influenced the rest of my life. It was just like any ordinary day, but while making silly gestures on a cliff, I ended up losing my
Oh,
balance.
there it is. That's what I literally just called. I said it was going to happen, and it happened. He's about to die.
Instead of falling into the sea, I hit the rocks and I ended up breaking both my arm.
Dude, that is like the worst fear ever. Like seeing this, like imagining that, like, oh, can you imagine that like 1 second in air where you're like regretting everything and you're like, yo, I wish I could go back.
I only knew this because this is what the x-rays at the hospital revealed. I felt completely fine. Luckily, my problem could be easily fixed, but the doctors were extremely puzzled about why I seemed to feel no pain. Although I could have been discharged earlier, they decided to keep me longer. Several tests were conducted, and
Oh, he doesn't even know. Your boy's been living his whole life like this and doesn't even realize
after
his
that,
diagnosis.
they did several more. After what seemed like weeks, they called me and my parents to a meeting. Many doctors were present, and everyone looked at me like I was some sort of alien. This is something we've never seen before at our hospital. Your son Ryan is incapable of feeling pain, he said. What? My dad said. Think about the way he has behaved his whole—
Can you feel emotional pain? Because that's the one I had to get rid of. Am I right? Okay.
I'm pretty sure there were many clear indicators, but now that we've done the tests, we know for sure. Well, there was the scorpion sting when he was a baby, and he never cried when his brothers hit him. And he'd do all kinds of crazy stunts in elementary school. Then the lion. My dad went blank for a while. Well, Ryan needs to be extremely careful because he is unable to feel pain. He seems to constantly put himself in life-threatening situations. He will do things that ordinary humans would probably think twice about attempting.
Uh-oh.
Think about it. He could have killed himself while jumping off that cliff, he said. Our suggestion is that he stops engaging in dangerous sports.
Oh man, that is scary. I would not want that life. That would be, it honestly like sounds cool at first. Or like when you start to realize like what it means, like I wouldn't want that, man.
Can you just calm down and behave like a normal young man for a while? He said.
That's what the doctor said. I could get a new doctor.
I don't really care what any of you have to say, I said while walking out of the room and slamming the door. I was angry. How dare they all talk about me like that while I was right in the room? I loved my life, and I loved the adrenaline rush I felt when I took risks. I wasn't about to put myself in a bubble just because I couldn't feel pain.
What would you do? Like, that's my question. What would you do? If you were in this situation, you can't feel pain, are you putting yourself in a bubble or are you living like this dude? Like, I actually don't know.
The doctor's revelation caused me to feel like I was superior to everyone else.
Okay.
I decided to use my ability to make money. I started making videos while I hurt myself to see if I could get—
Yo, wait, I've seen people like this on TikTok. There's like a dude who like hurts himself. Does he have this ability?
I did everything I could think of. I stuck needles in my hands, smashed bricks on my head, and one time I even set myself on fire. People were horrified, but I found it hilarious.
Wow.
I gained more and more views and more followers. When I finally hit 1 million, I felt the greatest sense of accomplishment
I can relate to that. I
had
can
ever
relate to
felt
that.
in my life. I also continued my dangerous stunts, and when I was old enough to drive, I did every single thing I was told not to do.
Nice Mercedes. Apparently it's like a Mercedes Bugatti is what that looked like.
Motorbike, which became my favorite thing in the universe. I learned how to do many stunts, and of course,
He's doing dirt bike parkour. We're inventing new dangerous sports now for
I
this
did
dude.
them all without a helmet.
Oh no.
This was the worst mistake, and maybe I should have cared and
Finally, I called you. He was gonna die.
listened to my mom when she begged me to wear it. One night, while I was biking through the mountains and testing out some stunts all by myself, my light
Seems smart to do all alone and not have a friend with you. Yeah.
stopped working. It didn't bother me much, but I decided I should try to head back home. I went speeding through the mountains back to the town. I really enjoyed feeling the breeze through my hair.
That dude's haircut looks wild right there. What the heck?
I didn't think that speeding was a bad idea because these roads were usually clear at night. Suddenly, I saw a bright white light.
Dude,
and
how
heard
do
a
you suddenly see? Okay, first off, that's graphic. But second off, how do you not see a car like for like literal miles? Like I could be on a country road and I will know there's a car like 10 minutes away and I'll just turn my brights down because I know it's coming.
huge bang?
How do you not see it? Are you blind
Then,
too?
everything went black.
Oh.
I woke up to a masked face staring
Oh.
directly at me.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
I looked around and realized I was in an operating room. I looked at my body and realized I
single
had
Band-Aid.
many cuts all over.
You got one
The
Band-Aid, dude.
surgeons were trying to stitch me back together, and it looked really gross.
Oh.
I didn't feel anything.
Why do they have to make that beeping thing sound so gross too? Like why can't they make it more wholesome? Like a, you know, like a beep.
I was given a few sleeping pills, and when I woke up hours later, my parents were sitting by my side. "Oh, Ryan, my love, what have you done to yourself now?" my mom said while wiping the tears off her face. "What do you mean, Mom? I just feel a bit drowsy, but I'm perfectly fine,"
What if he's like missing half his body?
I said while trying to sit up. But I couldn't move. I tried and tried again, but nothing worked.
Uh-oh.
"What happened to me?" I asked.
Oh,
"You were in a really horrible accident. You were paralyzed from the waist down, and you might be confined to a wheelchair for the next 3 years, honey."
dang.
My mom
Brutal
said.
injury.
"But that can't be. I didn't feel anything," I said, shocked. At that moment, the doctor walked in. "Although you don't feel anything, you have badly injured yourself. Your body needs time to heal. After 2 or 3 years, we'll get started with the physical therapy to
2 or
help
3
you walk
years?
again. But you will never be the same." I was filled with regrets. I now have 1 year left to go, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to stand soon.
If you like this, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click right here to watch a video YouTube recommends for you specifically. So click on it right here. Go. Click, 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 click. Okay, bye.